Waves Platform is a decentralized platform with loads of real-world solutions running on blockchain. Wavesnode.net is providing a professional node on the Waves platform, hosted in our own data center. If you are holding Waves tokens, you can lend them with the LPOS system to our big node. The leased tokens are always in your account and under your control. It is like leasing staking power. By leasing on our powerful, stable and trustful node, you are generating transfer fees and will be rewarded with Waves. The bigger our node's balance, the higher your rewards. Wavesnode.net can help you achieve increasing your stack and making the Waves platform stronger in just a few easy steps. So please, open your Waves Lite client and lease your tokens at wavesnode.net. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at wavesnode.net.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, welcome back. So, welcome everybody. This is Lutz. We are live. We are here today on a Friday night. I had work all day today, so I'm relaxing. And we have Rob from Incent here to talk to us and tell us, give us some updates, see how things are going with the ICO. Maybe some updates about the future. That would be awesome. And that's about it. It's just a little update, a little recording for those out there that are maybe not so sure if they should get involved. Maybe you guys think you missed out, but I don't think you did. I don't think you did, because from what Rob has explained and from what I understand is something about a finite supply that allows things to explode. So without any more waiting, Rob, welcomes.
Hey fella, how are you?
What's up? So is fella like dude?
Yeah.
Is that like, hey dude?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's so weird to hear that. Because if fella here in New York, it's like, hey fella, you're in my chair, like, hey stranger,
Right.
It's got a different meaning. I know it everywhere. I mean, there's things in Italian that can't be translated because it sounds completely different. So how's the ICO going, man?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Lutz, we're thrilled. And I'll explain why. We set ourselves a target of 1 million US, and as you know, we're kind of almost there. So passing the 1 million Australian mark, which we sort of passed last week, gives us the ability to make solid plans and kick off. And so there's a lot of activity behind the scenes in the last week to do just that. So internally, we're in the process of expanding the development team. We've allocated ourselves a budget of 50,000 Australian a month, which we believe is enough to secure the internal resource and the contracted resource to develop a product for market in a sort of an agile way. That's quite a big decision, and that's driven our location. So we'll be moving into a pretty cool hub in the center of Sydney over the next month.
Is that like an office?
Yeah, but it's Australia does fintech development pretty well. So the hub where we've selected is called Stone and Chalk, and Stone and Chalk are a non-profit who are essentially bankrolled by about 19 corporates in Australia and gives us sort of suite both the space but the contacts that we need to tap into as we take the product to market.
Nice, professional.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that if I were to sum up where the way we've been moving in the last 2 weeks, the crowdfund has enabled us to professionalize, and we can't afford to wait until the ICO completes at the end of November to get cracking. So we're getting cracking. So
All right, progress.
There's our own internal planning, which is we've now solidified exactly what components we need to build and how we're going to build them. We're getting deeper and deeper into the Waves integration, and we have a solid sort of development path there.
All right. So how much did you guys gather so far in the ICO? I think it was like 800 bitcoins, right? Or 700.
Let me take a quick look. So we're up to 960 bitcoins and just shy of 800,000 waves.
Holy Jesus! That's a lot. Wow. A lot of people out there must believe in this project in order for to get that kind of accumulation, right? Because there's projects out there that are pretty good projects, and they only made they barely broke 100.
Well, what really has made me happy is that the biggest single investment in this project is 50 bitcoins. And there is when I look across the investment piece, we've now got 588 investors. And that's a really good distribution for this stage. And the average investment is probably at about, 0.2 or 0.3 of a Bitcoin, right? So it's, I really like that, because that for me is the definition of crowdfunding. So we feel that we've got pretty broad support. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the ICO site gets just shy of 10,000 unique visitors every day. We have 1,275 ICO accounts established, and like I say, 588 investors. So it's a really healthy distribution, and we feel that the message we're communicating is resonating with exactly the sort of investors, the crowd, if you like, that we want to incentivize. So I'm really happy.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to put down other projects. I don't like to do that. But me personally, I've been in this for quite a few years now, and it's really hard to believe that something so technical, like there's some projects that are really technical, and there's really no way anybody's gonna understand how it's gonna work. It's like nobody normal, is gonna understand how these things work. It's just it's fact. I mean, you're lucky if people can move a mouse, right? So, the thing that really pulls me in about Incent, what makes me believe in it, is the fact that it's easy to understand. It's very simple. It's a rewards program. Underneath it all, you don't have to know the rest of it. You don't need to know how it works. You just need to know that you could set it up in your business, and it's cheap. It's easy. Can people set it up themselves without any help from you and your consulting?
Well, that's certainly the aim, and I don't know how much you know about our sort of business development effort, but customer number one has been identified, and we're moving forward with that customer, because achieving an integration for them will require us to build a Magento plugin. And that's a big deal, because Magento is without doubt the most utilized e-commerce architecture on the market.
Right.
Purely within Australia, Magento own something like 30% of the market.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
With WooCommerce making up, the next big chunk. Together, those two e-commerce infrastructures own about 47% of the Australian market, and the next biggest player is Shopify at about 4%. So it gives you an idea of just how powerful Magento and Woo are for us in terms of building an integration that can be plug and play, and those stats are reflected worldwide.
Right, and,
So
and I imagine Magento. I just want to give a little clarification as to what it is. Magento is a content management system. Okay, so it's like a package, a website package, right? It's made specifically for selling things. That's it. It's an e-commerce package. So say you want to build your own website, right? And you don't know how to code, you don't know how to do the body and the forward slash body, right? And you know who the hell wants to start from scratch, right? And who's going to learn HTML? Nobody. So what you do is you get a content management system together, and you just install it, you upload it to the site, and they have these custom themes already made out, and once you open it, poof, you just got to change a few things on the back end, and you have yourself a website. You put your own logo in there, and it's very easy for people to get it working. So it makes sense that 30% of the websites out there, e-commerce sites, are Magento. It's specifically made to sell things, and the best part of it is people like Rob, and Incent, they could develop a plugin. Right? It's a very simple plugin. It's as simple as just clicking the install or right in the back end of your website, and that's it. Poof, it's installed. And so are these going to be created?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, that's absolutely they are. So customer one will be Shaw Green, and we've blogged about that, and that's why, in a nutshell, they are so interesting for us, because it forces us to develop a bespoke plugin which can then be open sourced, right? So Magento is open source code, and that's why that, and the time it's been around, is why it's proliferated so massively, because it allows third-party developers to build the plugins, or rather the CMS that commerce needs quickly and simply. So it makes huge sense for us to build a plugin for Magento and Woo as quickly as we can, because that effectively makes an integration for an e-commerce merchant as frictionless as we can make it. Now, we need to be clear that Shopify really are, their niche is plug and play, right? I mean, they're absolutely, they're as close as you can get at the moment to a CMS that someone who knows next to nothing about tech, or even nothing about tech, frankly, can set up a website. Magento is one pace removed from that. Merchants need third-party developers to actually bring Magento to life for them. But we need to be realistic insofar as Shopify is really the bottom, the bottom eighth of the market, the smallest merchants. As soon as you're dealing with Magento or WooCommerce, you're dealing with an e-commerce operator that's generally turning over at least $1 million a year, and we cannot afford initially to be building bespoke plugins for really small operators. That's just a commercial reality. So that's why a Magento plugin is important to us for customer one, and as soon as that's done, we'll be moving across to Woo, and we'll go again, and that captures an awful lot of the mass CMS, the mass merchant market.
Right. From what I understand, once you have it coded, it's easy to convert them over to a Joomla plugin and a WordPress plugin. So once it's already made, it's not too much more difficult to make the other plugins. From what I understand.
You get it. That's exactly right. Everyone is easier to build than the last, and so we pulled in a Pete. I should say Pete, that personally is one half of a really powerful development combo. The second member of that combination is a guy called Kyle Hengst, and Kyle will be joining us from the beginning of November, and I can't wait to put that team together, because it's the team that built and moved us on to Firebase, and that is there's so much goodness has come from that. I mean, I don't know whether your listeners have actually taken a look at the ICO dashboard, but all of that dev is built on Firebase. It is, without exception, the most secure ICO infrastructure that there has ever been. And it's very quick to understand the architecture to build on. For example, we're not keeping customer data on a central server that could be hacked. It's impossible for that to happen, frankly, because it's built on Google security and it's all in the cloud. It's that sort of technology that these two are actually absolutely expert in developing. So I'm thrilled that Kyle is coming back into the tent and that we can afford him, because he's a very talented individual and he doesn't come cheap.
Hey, good work doesn't come cheap. Rarely does. Also, I wanted just to point out today, there was a huge hack in the United States. A lot of websites went down. Yahoo, big websites, PayPal, big websites went down today. Huge hack. It was crazy. Everybody was talking about it. And one of the only ones that didn't go down was Google.
Right.
FYI.
So, I mean, it's been, as we've gained popularity online, we have, as you're aware, drawn the attention of hackers, and we've been subjected to a fairly meaningful DDoS attack throughout the last week. And you'll notice that all we needed to do was ramp up the server power seamlessly on Firebase and Cloudflare, and we're up and live. So that's the benefit of the development horsepower behind this project. They're smart boys, and they reacted instantly, and there was next to no downtime.
That's a big concern for a lot of investors, is that the projects don't have the developers to accomplish what they need, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of these projects don't get anywhere. On top of it, you guys aren't anonymous, so which is fantastic. You guys are more than willing to come on and talk to anybody whenever you want. But all that aside, once the ICO ends, when does the ICO end? Is that what is that, like 2-3 weeks left?
No, the ICO ends on the 30th of November.
The 30th of November. So there's only a month and about a week plus.
Yep.
And so, is there any you see? I'm in a lot of circles, right? And I know a lot of people they don't like to get involved in an ICO once the bonus is over. Now, why is there any other type of incentive that could assist them in getting involved? Because nobody wants to feel like they missed out, really. Where the people get in at 9,000, now they got to get in at like 68, or what is it, 7,000, I think right now. Is there any type of program you guys are putting out to help maybe incentivize and get more people on board?
Well, I think my first observation, Luke, would be that is the way of the world, right? If you want to trade technically, then the bargain is to be had at the moment where everyone else is fearful, i.e. at the beginning, or when price falls back to a support line. And this is the moment where the masses are fearful and the brave make out, because they reduce their risk to the minimum, they control their risk, and the upside is maximized. So I'm not going to change the world here. We set up a pre-ICO bonus to reward those people that picked up on the concept first and had the courage to place their faith in us early. But that doesn't diminish the the potential of Incent. And the potential for Incent is the fact that, unlike almost anything else out there that I have seen, its focus is on connecting to mainstream commerce. And in connecting to mainstream commerce, it's going to have mainstream merchants putting crypto or paying to put crypto into the hands of mainstream consumers. So as soon as a merchant comes on board, every transaction that he completes represents an individual, a new demand impulse for Incent. So if you understand that, what you understand is that very quickly, Incent is going to be providing a huge aggregate demand on the secondary market for Incent. So if we take a look at, say, Waves, for example, Waves has a circulation of 100 million Waves. The market capitalization is currently $24 million.
Okay.
And the price of each wave is, it's 38 cents, right?
I think so. Something like that, yeah.
But let's just make those assumptions. Well, even if Incent makes out at its $5 million market cap, even if we get there, and there would be something like between 80 and 100 million tokens in circulation. If that's where we get to, then when I look at the 24-hour trading volume of Waves, we can very quickly be in a situation where we're delivering that volume as pure demand. So, what do you think is going to happen to the market capitalization of Incent based on its circulation? So even if people are paying, they wait till the very end, and they're getting their Incent at 6,000 per Bitcoin, that still represents huge near-term upside for them, because if just looking at that finite supply and the way it must react with the sort of demand that we can put onto the secondary market, the price has to rise fairly quickly to where Waves is trading and beyond.
So would it be safe to say that if Waves was 25 cents, then we could expect Incent to be a lot more for each token, like maybe 50, double?
Well, absolutely, and time scale is variable here, right? I mean, it all depends on how quickly we can penetrate the commercial market in the various sectors that we're targeting, and that is the unknown. But absolutely, I mean, if you have something of finite supply that it's rounded about, maybe a little bit less than the circulation of Waves, then all you need to do is to go onto CoinGecko, look at the 24-hour trading volumes, and you'll see where the price of Incent is going quickly to sit. And that's because of the way it's constructed. It's because it connects directly into mainstream commerce.
All right. Tell us about the finite supply theory again.
Sure. I mean, to be honest with you, Lutz, it's economics 101, right?
I'm bad with numbers, bro. Trust me.
Okay, well, if you've got 10 apples, for sale, and 20 people, want an apple, or 50 people want an apple, then what's going to happen to the price of apples? It's as simple as that. So,
the higher the demand, the price goes up.
Right. So, so let's say that within 3 months at the start of 2017, we're dealing to 10 merchants, and each of those merchants is online and delivering $1 million annually. Then that's a little under 100,000 each. But let's aggregate it up over 10. That's $1 million of transaction volume represented as demand hitting the secondary market. Now, let's say that 50% of that new demand is also providing supply. So that's now $1.5 million, transaction volume being delivered by, purely from Incent Loyalty.
All right.
So to put it another way, to not think it was worth investing or buying Incent now, you would have to be positive that my team are incapable of attracting any businesses in. If you truly believe that this product would have no value to merchants, then you should stay away. But if you don't, then and you're listening to what we're saying about one plugin delivering us 20% of the market. If you'd have to imagine that we couldn't pull in any business on the back of that, because if you imagine that we can, well, you ought to be buying, and this is an absolute bargain price, right? Because we're talking about a 4x increase very quickly.
Gotcha. And I'm going to leave that to the mathematicians out there, because I'm really bad with numbers. All I know is that I used to be a baker, and I see the value in a reward system like this. I see the value in implementing it for all. It's free, really, if you know how to do it yourself. You can implement it yourself. There's a tiny fee, right, involved with the transactions, like a regular crypto, right?
That's exactly it. Yeah. So our business model is to take a commission from that portion of a transaction, which is delivered back to the consumer as incentive to trade again.
And so I could see, if I had a bakery still these days, I would have implemented it in my bakery system. So I understand, and trust me, the reward programs out there, I tried doing that. I've even paid for coupons to be made, right? You got to pay for these things. They're not free. You want the little hole punch cards, with the reward system. Every time somebody comes to the store, you punch a little card. Those cards aren't free. They cost money. Everything costs money. You want to attract people out. You got to make pamphlets, right? You got to make little posters. Everything costs money, right? So from a business standpoint, the nothing that you're going to pay to implement this system is worth it. Everybody could do it, and it's on top of it. It's decentralized. So
I think we need to be we need to be clear with people that the merchant is paying. He has to make a decision to flex, a portion of his margin back to that consumer. But I guess what Incent is about is making that the only thing that he's paying. Whereas the conventional system, which requires you to build your program or pay through the nose for someone to build it for you, it requires you to have an accountancy team to actually manage your program,
right?
And you also incur an enduring forward tax liability for everything that you issue.
Right. So, like I was going to say just now, it's not really much of a payment. You're not paying anything because you could say you're making less revenue, right? And if you're making less revenue, you get the tax benefit on top of that. So they don't tax you more. On top of it, I mean, a cannoli, if I'm selling a cannoli in the bakery, right, the markup on a cannoli is like freaking 70%, right? 60%. I mean, taking 10% isn't really going to hurt too many people. Unless you're selling like, something, unless you really don't have much of a markup on your goods. And then even if that's so, you're probably selling so many of them. If they're pens, and you're selling thousands of pens probably. I mean, a little 2% margin isn't going to kill anybody because you're going to be selling even more pens. And you're going to get people coming back constantly. So it's more important to have that customer come back day after day, year after year, than it is to lose a couple dollars. And that's one of the most important things in business is people coming back. You need to be steady. You need to always have. You need to have loyalty in your customers, and And what's that other word I'm looking for? Consistency. You need to have consistency. That's one of the most important things.
One of the business sectors we're interested in and focused on at the moment are those businesses that have low or no marginal costs per sale. So if you consider, for example, online betting, sports wagering, the more revenue that business generates, the better, obviously. But the cost per unit to the business of delivering that product to the market is zero once they've actually built their technology. So, I need to be careful about being specific, but
Okay.
we are talking with one of the leviathans of this particular industry right now at a very high level, because they absolutely get the fact that they're a volume business. They also understand that their clients will love if you like, a monetary reward which is destined to ascend in value quite quickly, and they already have the AML, KYC, if you like, the compliance issues covered and delivered in their existing applications. So there's potentially a really swift integration opportunity with a simply huge amount of transaction volume. Now, this is a high touch business development strategy, and I can't say here and now that particular player will definitely come through, but I can tell you that they are moving pretty quickly, and they're very enthusiastic, and I see no reason why we couldn't deliver an integration for them very quickly. And if that comes together, we can forget the sums that we were talking about with market demand, because we will be talking at several orders of magnitude greater from a very early stage, and that's quite an exciting prospect.
Cool. All right. So when the ICO ends, right, in November 30th, what's going to happen afterwards? What are the first steps that besides Waves implementing full nodes and that other perspective of it? What is Incent going to do?
Well, so, the first thing I think we need to be clear on is we can't wait until the end of the ICO, right? So we'll be working the Waves integration piece throughout November, and we'll also be working the implementation of Customer One's Magento plugin throughout November. But specifically with regard to the ICO, our number one priority on completion is to efficiently distribute tokens that our investors have purchased to those investors, and we're working on that right now. We want to be, I think that it's crucially important that we demonstrate credibility, professionalism, and efficiency in the way that happens. And as you well know, Lutz, there's it's a sophisticated evolution, and a lot of ICOs have struggled. Most recently, Economy after the fact, and I think that it is just unacceptable. People have placed their faith in your project. The very first thing that you must do is get them their tokens efficiently. So that is our number one priority. Thereafter, our absolute focus will be getting Customer One out of the gate early in Q1 next year. And I won't be actively rolling out a marketing strategy, frankly, until that is done. That is what we must focus on, and that is what we will focus on. Because if we can make one customer in the e-commerce space, happy, then by Q2 of next year, his results will be known, and I'm predicting that he will see huge benefit. That's our marketing strategy.
Very yeah. You need an example. You need a first test case.
Right.
Somebody that people could look at and say, oh wow, they made that much money. I want to make that much money too. I
Right.
want
So
that to work for me.
by the end of quarter one, in 2017, I want happy e-commerce merchants, and I want happy point of sale merchants like bakeries. And we've actually identified a suburb, if you like, a village suburb within our local area, within Sydney, and that suburb is called Sunny Hill. And Sunny Hill has probably about 100 businesses. I would say maybe a few less, maybe in the sort of upper teens, maybe 50, 60 perhaps is probably a better estimate. But we've already secured customer one in that suburb, which is the pub at the centre of that, the bar, if you like, at the centre of that suburb. It's the hub of that suburb.
Gotcha.
That's a really important business development success for us, because it forces us, a little bit like Shaw Green, it forces us to build a point of sale solution, and we're actually quite advanced down that road. We've selected a third party technology option, which will allow people to pay out Incent as cash direct from their cellular phone. That's huge. So
That's awesome.
if we can make that bar work well, then that will proliferate around the local community, the local business community, very quickly. We want to be able to demonstrate that that a community can preserve and build their own ecosystem using Incent. And so
Yes.
this is a twin track approach I'm talking to here now specifically. The first is e-commerce, and the second is point of sale. They're the two prongs that we absolutely must cover. If we bring in a large top of town client, then that's great, but we'll buy the dev resource to deal with that separately. Our core business is about penetrating the point of sale market and penetrating the e-commerce market, and demonstrating to both that not just that the product works, but that it has a positive material benefit to those first customers. And if we can achieve that, then the rest should follow.
Gotcha. So buying now is still worth it,
For
even
goodness
at
sake.
this price.
Right. I mean, yeah.
I personally like getting deals, but from what I understand, now it's gonna explode. This is the word on the grapevine. It's gonna explode. It's as soon as it gets on, it's gonna get to a really high price, and everyone's gonna be very happy. So it doesn't really matter at what point I invest. So if I want to, so at this point, what I do personally, every paycheck I take $100 out of it, and I put 40 in waves, and I look at some other stuff, and I try to divvy it up into possible great investments, or great flips. Who knows? Sometimes it's a 1 day thing, but it's not many people have a lot of money, is what I'm saying. So there's people out there that they see there's so many projects out there. These Ardor, right? These what are the other ones? Like some other one called Like. I don't know. It's very technical. No one. It's not mainstream. There's nothing mainstream about these things. And
But
that's what gets
I think
me.
the key point here, Lutz, is if you're developing infrastructure, then you need applications developers such as Incent to take your product to market, right? So Wave's clients are people like Incent.
Yes.
What drew me to Sasha's project all those months ago was the fact that this is how he was thinking right from the outset. He was building infrastructure, but he was actively courting the applications developers that he knew his infrastructure would require to give it value.
Right, and Waves has a whole crowdfunding idea behind it, which is mainstream, which is a mainstream idea.
Absolutely. So
people could get on board something like that.
right. So when Chronobank, come along with their ICO after us, again, they are connected to commerce. They have a backer, a commercial backer, and so rinse and repeat. So
Right.
unlike a lot of, if you like, Wave's competitors, this is how Sasha was thinking from the word go. And I think that pulling, securing Incent's custom, if you like, is going to prove to be a huge strategic win for anyone holding Waves, and it would be a great way for Waves holders to diversify, because we're gonna kill it together.
All right. So you guys are getting a new office. That sounds really nice. And is Pete going to be in there with you?
Yeah. So
Because I interviewed
I don't want
Pete.
to. I don't want. I mean, the office is symbolic of a lot of moves that we're making right now. Perhaps a more important one is that we're in the process of officially retaining Holly Nethercott, the Sydney and Melbourne-based compliance team that put together the Australian Digital Currency Commerce Association's Code of Conduct. This is really important because we need to get ahead on compliance and get our licenses and build an administrative operation which is worthy of the sort of business we're anticipating doing. So that's another step that we've made within the last week.
And it's nice.
We're also
nice
just
to
about.
have,
Yeah, go on.
it's nice to have customers, to have a place to go to. If people are interested and they want to do business with you, it's nice to have a location, so people could get in contact with you directly at that location, or even just walk through the door.
Oh, so you're still talking about the location. Absolutely right. So we now need as you know, we have a fairly distributed team globally, but somewhere they needed to be, to my mind, somewhere that is honest, that is central, that is consistent with our stage of development, and also gives our development team somewhere that's conducive to the sort of work that they're going to be doing, and provides our business development team with the connections and the location to talk, to tier 1, 2, and 3 merchants that we're interested in partnering with.
All right. So when Amazon comes on board, it'll be easy for them to find you.
Well, you laugh about Amazon, funny. But we're in dialogue with an outfit in Australia whose specialty is providing big merchants, big e-commerce merchants with eBay plugins. Now, I don't need to say too much more on that for you to join the dots, right?
Yeah, Amazon.
There is simply
and eBay now. Now we got eBay and Amazon. Man, the rumors.
So I don't. All I would say, Lutz, is opportunities are everywhere. If you name a vertical that isn't tight, it's not easy to do. But to reel off just a few, the book market is hugely tight with bricks and mortar merchants having their lunch eaten by online sellers. The taxi cab market is extremely tight with the new wave of ride sharing eating the lunch of existing taxi cab drivers. Online betting is a hugely tight vertical with old money instituted and fully compliant onshore companies having their lunch eaten by offshore betting aggregators. I mean, I could go on and on, but wherever you see a tight market, there is someone in that market frankly, everyone in that market is looking for a competitive edge. And of course, this is exactly what Incent provides them with, is the potential to quickly integrate a competitive edge.
Yeah, and that's definitely what everybody's looking for. That's what makes money. So we have the big update is that we got a huge backer on board, right? Business backer. Any other updates you could, you could sneak out, while you're here, make it worth, make it worth it to listen to all the way. It's 45 minutes
So let me
by
just
this
let me
point.
just reel off business development progress as it stands.
I
Right,
heard you were
we're
going to
in
get some superstars to market the
yeah,
product.
so we're in dialogue with a huge, literally a huge established um, gambling concern, sports wagering concern. We're in dialogue with a pretty meaningful insurance outfit. Again, top end of town, same sort of deal. We're building relationships with third-party web development agencies who would, who already have large books of merchant clients, and we're rolling forward on the business development partnerships that I've already spoken to in various blog posts to give ourselves a tangible development target that we can move on right now. That's what we're doing.
Right. All right. Is that it? Come on, give us some more juice, man. You want some more?
Isn't that enough?
No, man, I want more. Come on, I'm just about to pull the trigger on buying another 0.5 Bitcoin. Give me some more incentive. I need more incentive.
But look, Lutz, I got to be honest with you. If that isn't enough, then I'm running out. Because I'm hugely, grateful for
Can you promise me
faith
something?
that's been. Go on.
I want a really, really hot, sexy girl marketing the product. I'm not talking about no professional guy with a mustache. I'm talking about hot, sexy, like the boater chick.
She's a lovely girl, right? Well, look, I desperately trying to be serious against all the provocation.
No,
Look,
sex
we'll be
sells, man. It sells. Just death in sex. I took a marketing class. I know.
okay. So there is something I want to see about or say about marketing. There has been some chatter on Bitcoin Talk about we want to see more deals. We want to see more established partnerships. My answer to that, and I want to make this point loud and clear, is no, you don't. No, you don't. You think you do because it gives you the confidence to pull the trigger. But think about what that means for a moment. If I were to send a sales team onto the streets of Sydney or some other city, doubtless we could bring in an awful lot of confirmed partnerships. But as soon as that is done, those partnerships have to be serviced. We are not in a position yet to service those partnerships. What we need to be doing right now is demonstrating to the investment community the commercial potential of what we're planning to produce without overcommitting ourselves on the development side. What we need to be doing on the development side is integrating with Waves and developing those first products for market, one for e-commerce and one for point of sale, that don't just work, but work seamlessly and make customers 1 and 2 really happy. That, if you've got your head screwed on as an investor, that is what you need us to be doing. And were I coming onto Bitcoin Talk or various fora every day to announce a new partnership that had to be serviced, that ought to be worrying you as an investor. That ought to be really worrying you, because you would have to be saying to yourself, how on earth are they going to make these commercial players happy all at once? It's not possible. And if they endeavor to scale at the speed that they would need to make all of those merchant partners happy, they'll lose control of their project. So, careful what you wish for, guys. What you want me to be doing is exactly what I am doing. And what I'm endeavoring to do here is demonstrate to you that there is huge commercial potential here. But what I'm also being very careful with is making commitments to those potential commercial partners that I cannot service. Because if I cannot service them, well, there's every chance that the project will implode through incompetence or the inability to actually develop a robust product at the rate we would need to.
You don't want to anger people before the product even comes out. or gets popular. Yeah. No, little by little, I understand that's definitely you want one successful you know a sale at a time. You know, make one person really happy, and you'll see that it'll come in on its own. Another person will want to be just as happy, and
Right,
so
we
on.
need to,
Yeah, you don't
exactly
want
right.
to
We
try
need
to.
to, in the first instance, we need to be given the space to develop, to develop methodically, so that we can make, like I say, custom 1 and 2, real happy. It will be absolutely crystal clear when the moment to scale is, and we'll be positioning for that. But what you don't want to be hearing me say right now is, you know, um, for example, we've push marketed to every WooCommerce merchant in Australia, and we've had a 20% return rate, and of that 20%, 5% of them want the product right fucking now, because
Right.
you know that we're not in a position to deliver the product right fucking now. And all
Oh
I've
man.
managed, all I would be achieving in doing that is just
Right.
baking in dissatisfaction with the merchant community.
I didn't even know you guys said that word in Australia. Over here, it's with a G. It's fugging.
I'm sorry, I need to watch my language.
Over there, it's I guess it's with a K. But over here in New York, it's fugging with a G. You know
I
what?
do, I do apologize, please forgive me.
You fucking killing me over here. You know, like that. You know.
Right.
So you said Bitcoin talk. I honestly, I never go to Bitcoin talk. I have no idea what you're saying. But if you're saying people are saying that, then you make a lot of sense. There's no reason to bite off more than you can chew. Uh, what is there a place like another blog somewhere else where people could come and talk to other Incentians,
Well, yes, there is, but I
Centurions?
mean, I think the first point I would make that it's also been commented that Incent's Bitcoin Talk community is the friendliest and most objective that anyone's ever seen, and I can't speak to that because Bitcoin Talk is not somewhere that I frequented before the commencement of our own project. But what I would say is that 99 comments or responses out of 100 have been only positive and only objective. So I'm really pleased about that. Of course, if
Okay,
people want to get more closely in tune
involved.
with
Yeah,
with the project, they should come and join us on Slack, because that's where it's all going down, and where the whole team have, I think, made a name for themselves in their responsiveness and the speed at which they actually get across client comments, or investor comments, or community comments. And we're only too happy to have an opportunity to talk through the product with people. It gives us a platform that we wouldn't otherwise have.
right.
And there's been a number of instances actually on Slack where we've dealt with skepticism and turned that skepticism into a really positive vibe.
I've
So
seen that. I actually seen that.
yeah,
I think Carl actually came out and helped. And who is that guy, Carl?
Carl Carlson, he's an absolute gun. He's our community manager, so you'll see him on the Bitcoin Talk, and you'll also see him in Slack. He's been fantastic, but he's a great communicator. And
Yeah, he was really amazing. He turned that guy around completely. And Peter too, I
right.
think, jumped in himself with the technicals.
It's really important. Look, and we completely accept that the online world, and particularly the crypto world, there's a lot of FUD, right? And people want to be reassured.
Right.
They want to
That's
be
why.
reassured that you're
That's
not going to run away with their funds.
right.
This
That's
is why
why I
we
don't
take.
go to. That's why I don't go to Bitcoin talk.
Right. Okay.
I've learned to stay away for that reason.
So this is why we've sent up a really robust escrow system. This is why we've taken great care to build a robust dashboard platform that we maintain fastidiously, in spite of DDoS attacks and flaky APIs and the rest of it. We get across this stuff really quickly because we want to do everything we can to demonstrate to the community that we're credible, we're serious, and we're not messing around.
Where could people go to sign up to your Slack?
They just need to come to incentloyalty.com and there's a number of links actually embedded in the site. I think there's one right at the top. Yeah, easy peasy.
All right, so I'm there now, and there's a lot of oh man, it's going to 6,800. What's the floor gonna be? Like in 3 weeks, what's the price gonna be per BTC? If people wanted to buy in 3-4 weeks now.
Yeah, there's not much. There's not much to go now. We'll level off at 6,000 per BTC at the end of October, and that's where we'll stay for the rest of the ICO. So to give you an idea, that's 0.00016 recurring is the price of one Incent in terms of Bitcoin.
All right, so it's going to go lower than 6,800. Then it's going to be at like 6,000. You're saying?
Yeah.
So right now it's still a
there
good
you go.
deal.
There's still a little bit of a bargain if people want to get going now. There's absolutely.
There's only 3 days left. 3 days left. I did find that link though. It's underneath the video, people. So if you go to the website, you go underneath the video, you'll see it says "Join us on Slack." And
there's another one right at There's another one right at the bottom as well. Missed that.
And I suggest anybody that has any skepticism towards this project, definitely get on and start talking and get your views out there. Tell them, I feel that this might not work because, and they answer you. They're not anonymous. Rob is always on. There's always somebody on there to answer your questions. So I suggest you get on it right now if you have any skepticism. If you don't and you think it's a great project, then you should have invested already. I've invested, but I invest in a lot of projects. I've invested in MVP, that basketball fantasy, because it's just like Incent. It's a tangible project, a project for real people. Incent could use this project. Real people in the world could use Incent. It could be mainstream in this niche. I don't think everything is going to go mainstream all at once. I think we need to conquer every niche one by one, right? So Rob is conquering the loyalty program niche, right? MVP is going to conquer the fantasy sports niche, which is huge because I work for big companies, and I know they all play this fantasy football and fantasy basketball. I never understood it myself, but I know for a fact that everybody plays these things, and they bet a lot of money on it. So, I think that niche by niche, we could get crypto mainstream. It doesn't matter which one. It's Waves, which coincidentally, I think MVP will be on the Waves platform. What's ChronoBank about, Rob? Do you know?
Look, I do. I think they could probably talk through their project better than I could.
Right. I heard about it. I didn't hear it, but I don't know what it's about really. I know it's coming out after yours.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. There will be. I think they start in December. Now, what I can say is I've met Alex, one of their co-founders in Sydney, and he strikes me as a very intelligent, genuine, and savvy operator. So, I think on that basis alone, I think they're worth a look.
All right. Well, I look forward to the next awesome project that could go mainstream in whatever tiny niche. It doesn't matter how small, people. It doesn't matter how small it is. If it could work, then it'll go mainstream in that tiny little niche. Well, however many people it'll touch those people mainstream. It'll work, which is better than not working for millions of people all at the same time. You want it's little divide and conquer action. So Rob, It's been a pleasure talking to you. We've been on for about an hour now. I don't like to let these hang on too long. We'll get an update from you in a couple of weeks or so.
Yeah, I'm more than happy.
I want to know about all the new news. Don't leave me out. I'm an investor too.
All right, baby.
All right, I'm telling you, don't forget about me because I had to poke you quite a few times to get you on the radio today.
It's been busy, but listen,
Yeah.
thanks for having me on. It's great to be given an opportunity to talk about what we're doing. I enjoy it. It clears my mind as much as everyone else's, and thank you very much.
All right, no, but hey, I love having you on. You articulate yourself very well. I wish I could talk or English the way you do, or Australian English. I'm not really sure what it's called.
You do just fine, mate.
I'm more of
You
a
do just fine.
Brooklynese, gangster type of guy. I do what I got to do. If you need fingers broken, I'll do it for you. You let me know. All right.
No, thank you.
If you need a little push, somebody's not treating you right, you let me know.
Cheers, Lutz, but we're good.
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for showing up. If you listen to this live, congratulations. If you want to listen to it, it'll be out in probably 24 hours or so. That is the benefit of listening to us live. You get to hear it first. All right, guys. Have a great day. And Rob, love you, man. And I'll talk to you soon.
Cheers, buddy.
Waves Platform is a decentralized platform with loads of real-world solutions running on blockchain. Wavesnode.net is providing a professional node on the Waves platform, hosted in our own data center. If you are holding Waves tokens, you can lend them with the LPOS system to our big node. The leased tokens are always in your account and under your control. It is like leasing staking power. By leasing on our powerful, stable and trustful node, you are generating transfer fees and will be rewarded with Waves. The bigger our node's balance, the higher your rewards. Wavesnode.net can help you achieve increasing your stack and making the Waves platform stronger in just a few easy steps. So please, open your Waves Lite client and lease your tokens at wavesnode.net. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at wavesnode.net.